What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to work on my 1-ton spot for the Jeep WJ. So basically we're going to make this side, all these little pieces look like this side. So I've already gone ahead and welded this up off camera, so that way I kind of have an idea of what to do and what to expect. This bracket I also realized I'm not going to need, so we're going to chop it back off. That is basically that bracket right there that we're not using. Since we have the 3-link setup in the front from Iron Rock Off-Road, we don't need that bracket, so we're going to have to cut it off the 1-ton swap since I accidentally welded that one on. Also, make sure you guys stay till the end because I'm going to need some help picking out some things for this axle and kind of making some decisions along with the build. So make sure you guys stay to the end so that way I can get you guys' input on that. But let's go ahead and start welding up this side. So basically right here, what we're going to want to do is we're going to go ahead and put these little keyed spots down into the truss where it belongs. I'll get it down there in a second. And then this piece goes on top like that. Then we have to weld around the corners, round it off, and we should be left with something like this. So this is really where our coil is going to sit down on top of. Now I do have a little piece right here that we have to weld down in that, which is this piece right here. It goes down in there. One side of it will sit lower than the rest of it, and basically our coil that'll hold it in place. That way it doesn't get to slide off or move around too much, and that'll take care of that. Also, this will be nice with this hole in the middle. I'm not sure if we're gonna have to put anything there. On the Grand Cherokee, currently there's nothing on there. So we might be able to use this hole for a coil retainer because, as we know, that one likes to drop coils out on the trail, especially now that we ripped off that front coil retainer that's on the top of the axle. But that's enough talking, so let's go ahead and get to welding. So like I was saying, each bracket on here, actually throughout the entire axle, has these little like key spots cut out on the truss part itself, and they just slide together like that. So there's really only one way that these can go. So with that bracket right there, it was the same way. They only fit on one way, so you knew exactly where to put it. So that's really nice, and that's why I like this Barnes truss so much. So we're going to go ahead and we'll weld the inside of this. That way there's not weld on the outside. Then we'll go ahead and paint the inside. That way it doesn't, get all messed up. I don't want to go ahead and not paint it and then have it raw metal and then rust out from the inside. That'd be terrible. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the welder. We'll weld along the inside there. Then we'll put the cap on next and weld around the outside of that. Grind it all smooth, and we should have this side looking just like this side. So I've gone ahead and cleaned up this spot, as you can see. And honestly, if you guys aren't welders, you still probably can get this done if you just take your time, you practice on similar material. That's what I did. And one of the biggest things seems to be cleaning it. Obviously, that's not the only thing. There's a lot more that goes into it, but you definitely want to make sure you have a clean surface that you're welding on. Helps a ton. Ask me how I know I screwed up quite a few times trying to get enough practice to where I feel comfortable doing this. But now that we have all this put together, let's begin welding the inside of this. So I've gone ahead, welded up the inside all the way around, and then we also painted it black so that way it won't rust from the inside out. Now we're going to go ahead and weld this cap on, and I'm actually going to paint the bottom side of this so that way it doesn't rust. Did kind of forget that on that side, but we'll forget about it, and we can always replace these down the line if we have to. And then this will go on just like this. Sorry, still a little hot. You guys saw what I meant. And basically we'll weld it along the outside there, and then we'll grind it all down smooth so that the spring can sit nicely in there. Then we have to do these, which I'll probably do once we take it off of the axle. It's not welded on right now at all. And then we also have to do this upper mount, which shouldn't be too difficult. All right, so that's all done, wrapped up. Now we're gonna focus on the upper joint that is right on top of the diff. So these little brackets can actually face two directions. Get this magnet out of here. And if you look at it from the side, you're gonna wanna go ahead and put the joint farther forward because that's most in line with the other joints. versus this direction to where the angle's a little off, it's a little bit farther backwards. You just want to make sure that that's more forward. We'll go ahead, get our magnet back on here, get everything squared away. That way it's all set up correctly. And then tack it in place, go back through, weld it. And that basically wraps up welding brackets and stuff on. Besides these little like coil mount things, I'm not really sure what the actual name of those would be, but we have to weld those on. Then basically go back through, weld up a little bit more on the side pieces to the main part of the truss, finish cleaning up the axle. Then this truss can be welded to this axle, which will basically make it bolt under the Grand Cherokee. All right, so the upper mount is welded in place now. I do have to go around this part here. I'm gonna let everything cool off though. We'll go ahead and cut this off in a little bit and probably just save these brackets for practicing in the future on this thickness metal. But this is welded on. Both of these are welded on. Now I just have to weld these in. Then we'll take the truss back off the axle over to the bench and we'll just finish welding up the inside of this, paint the inside. Honestly, I might just paint the whole thing and get it done so that way it's not going to rust anymore. Then we'll come back, finish cleaning up the axle, get everything set up there. Then we'll go ahead and weld on the truss to the axle next episode. So basically the main thing I wanted to go over with you guys regarding the axle is when we put it under the Jeep, and I'm honestly thinking kind of soon. So there's a couple reasons behind that, so let's go over all that. So reason one is the swap is super expensive, and one of the things I think this is going to do for the channel is when we have one of the bigger Grand Cherokees on 1 tons, massive tires, all that, I think it'll help us make more money from the channel to fund these builds. So far I've been putting all the money from the YouTube and sales on the website and all that stuff into these 3 cars, and I'm not complaining about that at all. It's super cool and I'm super happy with it. I just think it would pay for itself, the 1 ton swap, if we put them under here. Basically with the trusses welded on, the front factory locker with the locking hubs on the side, and then the rear possibly with a locker, or possibly how it is, the gears match up, all that stuff matches up. It would save a ton of time. And let's be honest, this axle swap has been taking forever. We need to get it done. I know I'm tired of waiting. I'm sure you guys are tired of waiting. So realistically, we could finish up putting the trusses on, finish up all that little tiny stuff, new bearing seals, all that sort of stuff, and then put them under the Jeep, which could be within the next month or 2 months. Like, it could be super soon. We'd have a front locker, we'd be able to put the big tires on it, all that kind of cool stuff. In addition to that, I think having this on 1 tons would really open up the sponsorship opportunities and the opportunities to work with various brands on the build. With the Wrangler, as you guys know, we work with a bunch of brands on that build, and it's super cool to work with these brands, meet people from those brands, go to some events with them, all that kind of stuff. It's a lot harder with the Grand Cherokee, to be completely honest, because there's so much less people out there. And the way sponsorships work is you have to create a return on investment for the sponsor themselves, which with a Wrangler is a lot easier because there's so many more people that see that, and there's so many more people that have Wranglers that would be interested in those parts compared to a Grand Cherokee, just because so many less people build these. Plus, on top of that, so many of the parts that I really want on this setup aren't in stock, or they're back ordered for like 6 to 8 months, possibly a year. So we could always go back through after this show season, because I want to take the Jeep to events this year and just redo some of the parts, put new lockers in, new gears, new knuckles, new shafts, all that kind of stuff. We could redo it after the show season, but it would be really cool to make it to shows. So I'm interested to see what you guys think. Should we go ahead, weld the truss up, replace all the bearings, seals, all that kind of stuff, and then just run it, put them in the Jeep and see what we get? It would also be cool to kind of do a budget 1 ton swap if that exists. It's still going to be fairly expensive, but it's cheaper than all out build that I'm planning on doing on these axles. So let me know what you guys think. Should we go ahead and wrap this up and then put them under the Jeep, or should we wait the 6, 8 months, possibly a year, and then put them under the Jeep? I'm interested to see what you guys say. So go ahead and comment down below what you guys think. Should we do it now, or should we wait